Children have long been gracing our screens and giving stellar performances with their cute faces. But recently, many creators have been calling for parents who put their kids in the entertainment industry to be stopped, and it's all the rage now. Should kids actually stay away from the entertainment industry? Or are people just looking for new things to be angry about? When kids appear on our screens, we are sure that they have gone through rigorous training and are ready to give a show. However, as the lockdown came upon us, many people started to put their families out into the public. More to make money off of vlogging. During that time, some viewers noticed that videos of babies in diapers or eating fruits were getting so many likes and saves. It was so bad that some parents went as far as posting their kids' bath time routine, and the videos would get over 100,000 saves. Then Jeanette McCurdy dropped her memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and shook the internet.
Lived the life that I lived for me, and I processed things the way that I processed things for me.
Jeanette McCurdy was popular for her role as Samantha Puckett on the Nickelodeon shows iCarly and Sam and Cat. As if you didn't watch TV growing up, then you know how iconic her character was and why she was so beloved on Nickelodeon. However, her book brought a new perspective to her life that was so well shielded. In the book, Jeanette revealed that she never wanted to be a child star and only started acting because she needed to feed her family. As a result, she developed an eating disorder caused by the strict weight management her mother forced her to follow. To make it worse, Nickelodeon made her character on her shows have a bad relationship with the food, which didn't help her case. To make Jeanette be the perfect child actress, her mother would forcibly bathe her, inserting her fingers into her private parts. She was suffering sexual abuse from her mother, who had all the faculties to get a job, but decided to place the burden on her child instead. When Jeanette was on the show, Sam and Cat, she had to deal with low pay and watching her co-star, Ariana Grande, get her character written out so she could pursue a music career. When she asked for a break, she never got one. After leaving Nickelodeon, Jeanette McCurdy would deal with alcoholism and have to go to therapy. She became a shadow of herself because she was plunged into fame when she should have been protected as a child. Her story is just one out of many child stars that have dealt with similar issues as a result of being on TV screens when they didn't want to. And what's the common excuse amongst their parents? They needed money and saw potential in the kids they had to watch over. Dylan and Cole Sprouse, the famous twins from Disney, also got into showbiz because their family needed to survive. So whenever adults see that they can't keep doing what adults do, they put the responsibility on kids. And that has translated to many traumatized adults who now have to learn to live regular lives. But the exploitation of kids in the entertainment industry did not start in the 2000s. It started as far back as the 1950s, and one notable example we can mention is Shirley Temple.
On the good ship, lollipop.
Shirley Temple was a child star during the Great Depression, and like most child stars, she also experienced sexual abuse. The only difference is that some of the creeps that abused her did it on screen. In one of her shows, she was the only child on a bus filled with men, and she was passed around amongst them and comforted them because they looked sad. Shirley Temple was portrayed as a symbol of comfort in her shows, and not the kind of childlike comfort you would assume. She exchanged kisses for lollipops and danced provocatively for a child on her shows. When Shirley Temple eventually told her mother about the abuse she was suffering, her mother didn't believe and kept pushing her into the limelight. The child was so successful as an actress that her net worth was $3 to $4 million during the 90s. When she got older, she experienced body shaming from the tabloids, which showed the harshness of the industry she was in. Shirley Temple never experienced both in her childhood and adulthood. The abuse of children did not end in the 90s and carried on into the 2000s entertainment scene. In the early 2000s, Nickelodeon had some of the best shows produced by Dan Schneider. But underneath all the happy children we saw were kids who were enduring gross misconduct. Dan Schneider has been the attention of controversies since he exited Nickelodeon in 2018. When he joined the team, he made the network a multi-billion-dollar industry. But so did he also leave a lot of traumatized kids behind.
We haven't had to use it in a long time.
I said lots of nice things.
Oh, I said nice things about you.
In Jeanette McCurdy's book, she revealed that the producer would bring alcohol on set for them while they were still minors and sometimes would ask for massages. We know for a fact that there's no shortage of masseuses in the US, so why did he demand these young kids to give the massage? Jeanette revealed that she was offered $300,000 to stay quiet about the abuse she endured on the show, but she refused. It was obvious that Nickelodeon didn't care about the kids in their care because sexual abuse allegations were not enough to make them terminate their contract with Dan Schneider. They were willing to offer hush money but not increase Jeanette McCurdy's pay. Sexual abuse was not the only thing going on behind the scenes of Dan Schneider's shows, as the producer was also sexualizing kids on TV. Danielle Monet, one of the cast on Victorious, revealed that she once drew attention to a scene in the show that was heavily sexualized. In that episode, Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande were at a car wash wearing skimpy clothes, and guys started to pour water on them through a hose. Car wash scenes like that are suggestive, especially for a children's show, and when Danielle Monet called it out, she was ignored and the episode was aired. Nickelodeon was all about the bag and nothing else. Eventually, the network parted ways with Dan Schneider because they found out that he was verbally abusing other staff members. Some of his victims stepped forward and said they experienced gender discrimination on the network. Nickelodeon's target audience was teenage girls, but behind the scenes, Dan Schneider didn't believe that women could be funny. He told his female writers point blank that women couldn't be funny, which was a harmful stereotype to propagate on a kids' network. Jenny Kilgan, one of the writers on The Amanda Show, revealed that Dan Schneider would often offer them money to perform sexual acts. One time, he gave her and another writer money to act like they were being sodomized while narrating their high school experience. The producer definitely had a twisted mind and didn't try to hide it. It was just not an allegation, as the case was settled outside court. Dan Schneider's weird fantasies led to the girls on set of his movies being overly sexual for the sake of comedy. In Zoe 101, Jamie Lynn Spears had to act an episode where goo stuff was being squirted on her face in a scene that looked like a pornographic video. As if that scene wasn't cringe enough, he made Ariana Grande do more sexual things in Sam and Cat. There was an episode where she had to suck her toes, milk a potato, and pour water on herself with the line, "I'm soaking wet." When kids watch those scenes, they see it as comedy and actually don't think much of it. But if adults and older teenagers were to see those scenes, they would get the sexual innuendos. Sexual innuendos in movies has never been a bad thing, as it's a way to keep the movie lighthearted. But when you begin to include it in children's shows, then you are giving room to pedophiles to have a field day. Danielle Monet also made a comment on the choice of outfits her character wore in Victorious, and said they were too sexual and she wouldn't even wear them as an adult. You want to know the worst part about this situation? The execs on the network and parents of the kids involved scrutinized every episode before it was released, and they approved it. Dan Schneider didn't go behind their backs to reshoot scenes. They saw everything happen before their eyes and approved their kids being sexualized in that manner. So in this situation, the parents had a chance to save their kids, but fame and money was more important than anything to them. They would willingly throw their kids under the bus as long as they got the paycheck. It appears that the entire entertainment industry is tainted with parents who don't care about their kids, because in 2024, a YouTuber was arrested for abusing her kids. Ruby Frank, a family vlogger who went viral for her page 8 Passengers, was arrested after many years of people seeking justice. Ruby and her husband would seize their kids' bed and withhold food for days as a way of punishment. She was bold enough to document these gory scenes, and when people called her out, she defended herself. She claimed that she was doing what was best for her children, which led to people signing an online petition for the Franks family to be investigated in 2020. The petition was ignored, and it was later revealed that the Frank children had reported the abuse to the police and CPS a lot of times, but they were never taken seriously. Eventually, police came to their aid in 2023 when the Franks' 12-year-old son ran to the neighbor's house. He asked for food and water as he looked emaciated, with tap marks around his wrist and ankles. The neighbor called police, who also found the family's younger children in the same condition. The kids were taken away and the parents arrested. Since then, people have used Ruby Frank as an example of why family vloggers with children should be banned. To be sincere, nobody cares about the details of your child's life except people that want to do them dirty. Placing your kids in a toxic environment for profit shows that you don't care about their well-being. No child has ever remained the same after tasting Hollywood. And that shows that the industry needs to be more regulated when it comes to the operation of kids.